The August 19th, 2025 meeting of the Collective School District Board of Directors is called to order. Terry Lee, if you'd be willing to lead us in the pledge today.
Delighted. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Director Apple?
Here.
Director Luke?
He's not able to be here tonight.
Director Honcher?
Here.
Director Pushkar? Here. Director Simsek? Here. Director O'Brien? Here. Director Zaleski?
She's not able to be here tonight.
Director Liliana? Here. Director Schreiber?
Here. I'll report that we had an executive session prior to this meeting, and we discussed personnel matters, contract negotiations, school safety issues, and real estate. Do we have open forum questions? We're going to wait until after done.
Yeah, I think it'll be mine.
We're hoping that some of the open forum questions at the beginning of the meeting will be answered by Dr. Craig, the superintendent report. So I'll now turn to Dr. Craig for that report.
Thank you. As far as the superintendent's report for this evening, as we prepare to welcome our students back to the 2025-2026 school year, we had opening day presentation for our faculty and staff, and just want to highlight some of the important upcoming events for our community. Meet the Teacher Night is held at both the elementary and the secondary level. At the junior senior high school, that's tomorrow night, August the 20th, that's from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock in the evening. At the elementary level, that's this Thursday night, August 21st, 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. I believe there's a Steelers game that night, but there wasn't much that we could do in planning and preparation for that. In addition, 7th grade orientation, which is designed for our new 7th graders coming in and becoming understanding of the 7th grade orientation aspect. That is also on Thursday, or on Wednesday, August 20th, tomorrow evening at 4 o'clock, and that's held in our auditorium. Superintendent, parent, and community forums for this year. These forums provide an opportunity for parents and community members to meet with district leadership to talk about a lot of different topics of interest and sharing information collaboratively back and forth. We have 6 meetings planned this year, starting in September on the 23rd at the junior senior high school. All these sessions at the junior senior high school are during the day. They start at 9 o'clock in the morning. October 9 is at Crafton. November 17th is at Carnegie, and then we start the cycle again on January 7, February 4, and March 3rd. Again, the evening events at Crafton and Carnegie are at 6 p.m., and they line up nicely in many cases with our PTA sessions. School picture days, we have our school photographer lined up for this school year. It is Life Touch. We'll be taking pictures for our students and for our staff for student picture days. Those dates, junior senior high school is on Tuesday, September the 16th. Crafton Elementary is on Thursday, October the 2nd. And Carnegie Elementary School is on Tuesday, October 7th. And then we also have parent and teacher conferences coming up. Those are in November. That's November the 4th. And they are scheduled throughout the course of the day from 11 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock in the evening. We also remind families that our annual publication of the Carleton Connections is published online and is also sent out via an e-blast as well, and I believe went out this afternoon. And within that e-blast, there's a link to the Carleton Connection magazine, it's a pretty thorough document put together that just goes through policies, procedures, school days, times, a lot of different information that's in there, some board policy references as well. So that's a great document for individuals to take a look at just to secure additional information about the district and operations. This morning we sent out information in regard to our parents in regard to our plans to reduce distractions in the classroom during the school day and promote a healthier approach to learning through the restriction of mobile devices during the school day. Our decision to implement Yonder pouches for students in grades 7 through 12 is grounded in both research and our commitment to fostering an environment where students can focus, learn, and thrive. Constant presence of cell phones in the classroom has been shown to negatively impact mental health and contribute to significant distractions in learning. The whole goal is to surround this, protecting student mental health, When we take a look at cell phones, it reduces the social pressures and also reduces anxiety. Constant access to social media increases exposure to cyberbullying, comparison culture, and unrealistic online portrayals. It's certain there's a lot of research to indicate there's linked heightened rates of anxiety, depression, and feelings of isolation with high usage of cell phone devices. The plan also goes through and promotes face-to-face interaction. Instead of students having their noses in their cell phones all the time, has an opportunity for students to collaborate. Many districts that we've talked to who have implemented restrictions of this nature using yonder couches have noticed significant improvements in social interactions among students, especially in particular during classroom instruction, group work, and in the cafeteria. It's encouraging mindful breaks, allowing students to disengage, to cool out, to be unplugged, and to experience life in the presence of others. Minimizing distractions in the classroom. There's a variety of studies out there that show that just having a cell phone device in front of you has a direct impact on memory, has a direct impact on learning and attention span, even when it's not in use. The Yonder pouches remove this distraction by placing the device in a secured area and not within the reach of our children. And it's protecting our instructional time. Learning is the main foundation. It's what we're here to do. And when we have devices that are distracting on a constant basis, certainly pulls away from the hard work and efforts that our teacher puts forth their learning activities and environment. The bottom line is taking a look at a culture of being present and being able to be aware of our surroundings. There's a lot of support out there in regard to federal legislation. Representative DeLuzio from the state of Pennsylvania is taking a look at legislation at the federal level and has support on that at the state and local level. There are 3 senators across the state of Pennsylvania, 1 Republican, 2 Democrats, who are putting forth language at the state level to put through restrictive types of measures in regard to cell phones. And when we look at it, our students face more digital noise than any other generation before them. By implementing Yonder couches, we're making a clear investment in their mental health, their academic success, and the quality of the relationships both with their peers and with their teachers. This initiative is not about punishment, it's about creating the best possible environment for our students to learn and for them to grow. Carnegie Elementary renovation project. As we shared last week in our work session, this project continues to be a high priority for the board, continues to be a high priority for us in regard to creating innovative spaces for our children to learn and thrive and grow. As we went back through and we took a look at the project, as you know, it went back out last April. We took a look at the project, refined it, scaled it. We'll be putting that project out for bid in September. We expect to have bids in during the month of October, which will provide the board the opportunity during the November work session and the legislative meeting to review those bids and looking for approval of that project in November. Inspiring innovation. As we enter the 2025-2026 school year, the Carleton School District is proud to announce our theme this year, building upon last year's theme of Together We Can, by moving forward with this year's focus of inspiring innovation. While our theme has evolved, our commitment at its core remains the same. And that commitment is providing our students with a safe and secure learning environment, and that's for both our staff and for our students. It's delivering a world-class education to prepare students to be college and career ready upon graduation. It's supporting growth across the academics, the arts, and athletics. And it's all of that while ensuring fiscal integrity. When we speak about a world-class education, it's important that we meet every Carleton graduate leaves prepared for either higher education or directly into the workforce. That we consistently measure ourselves against the very best, and we fulfill our mission to empower our students to thrive in a global economy through a nurturing and challenging education. Innovation at its core is about taking something that already exists and making it better. Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, once said, "Innovation is the ability to see change not as an opportunity, to see it as an opportunity and not as a threat." In today's rapidly changing and evolving world, innovation is happening everywhere and is expanding at an exponential pace. Our responsibility as a school district is to prepare our students not only to embrace that change, embrace and leverage innovation, but to prepare them for their future, not our past experiences. It's the future that they will inherit. It's important to remember that innovation is not just technological, but it's also biological. And by biological, we mean it's creative, it's human, and it's ever going. As educators, we must guide students to think critically, solve problems, and collaborate with others so that we can shape and advance new ideas and solve real-world problems. So this initiative is a powerful example of what we did this past school year as an example of innovation. We have groups of students across the district who don't speak English as their native language. What we did last year was we conducted a pilot using the TimeKettle X1 hubs. The TimeKettle X1's hubs are integrated with artificial intelligence, which allows us to interact and have dialogue with students who do not have English as their native language. And we piloted in 2 classrooms last year, both a social studies and a math classroom. We collected feedback from our staff, and we also collected feedback from our students. We collected the feedback from our students. We looked not only at our ESL students and their population, but we also looked at their peers, native language English speakers as well. And what we recognized was that a large percent of the students using the earbuds recognized that they were more actively engaged in classroom discussions, that they were more understanding of the curriculum, and it provided the teacher the opportunity to interact with that student on a much easier conversation level. We also found from our native English speakers that they were able to work in small groups and have correspondences with our ESL population, creating that connectedness to school, creating friendships and peers that before that bridge and what has caused that delay there has not been able to occur in the past. So that pilot was extremely successful last year. We were very grateful for the Carleton Education Foundation, who financially supported that pilot and purchased the X1 hubs for us. We shared the results of this year's pilot with them, and they were more than happy to once again fund additional purchases for our students coming into the school year. So phase 2 of the pilot, as we take a look at the X1 hubs, we're looking to take a look at our ESL population, take a look at their WIDA scores, which evaluate their English skills and sets of skills, take a look at how long they've been in the United States, take a look at their language skills and discussion skills, and have those students use those devices throughout the course of the school day, allowing teachers to have the authority in the classroom to determine when and when not it's appropriate to use those devices in the classroom as well. So we really look forward to this year's pilot, looking to expand that, continuously collecting data back on the effectiveness of that program, and looking to close those gaps that we have with our students who do not speak very good English in regard to having access to the curriculum as well. So that's an opportunity for our students moving forward, and I think it's a great example of the district being innovative in addition to the Carnegie renovation project, where we're taking a look at being innovative with the space that we use and how we instruct our students.
Can I ask a couple of TimeKettle questions since you're talking about it?
Absolutely.
So you said you're moving into phase 2 of the pilot.
Yes.
So how are you determining which students have access and how many TimeKettles are going to be available? Are they available at elementary level and at junior senior high?
So the second phase of the pilot continues to remain at the junior senior high school to work with our students in the classroom. So students in grades 7 through 12. So there's several criteria. At the end of last school year, we pushed out a survey to our instructional staff and asked them for recommendations of students who they've recognized in the classroom to struggle with interpretation back and forth and understanding language. So that was one piece of data we collected. We collected information on how long the child has been in U.S. schools. We took a look at their WIDA scores, and we also took a look at where they were in regard to phasing out of ESL services. So the level of support that we're looking for is more of that level, that tier 1, that levels of support. We're not looking to give it to children who are ready to test out of ESL services.
Because we still want them to practice their
Correct, because our main goal is to make sure that students leave here being able to fluently speak English and be able to collaborate and write effectively as well. So these are a tool that helps us get to that final benchmark of getting students to exit from the ESL program. But we had 4 or 5 different criteria that we used there. And we are using them exclusively to students up here at the junior, senior high school. But at each of our buildings, we have the time kettle devices. They can be used for a variety of different capacities in collaborating with parents. If there are any special issues in counseling office or in the
So they
principal's
do
office.
have access.
They have access to 1 or 2 time kettles at each of the elementary schools as well.
And they've all had training on them.
And then, yes, and they've gone through training as well. We continuously work with the training agency. They have come out with, the thing that we like about time kettle, and the reason we picked them in the very beginning, is their history of research-based, their commitment to education in itself, working in the classroom, and their commitment to grow as an organization. So when we first started working with them, I think they had 38 languages that the time kettles went through and interpreted with. Now I know that they're above 40 different languages that are able to interpret. And they've continuously take a look at the product and improve it through innovation. One example is having one time kettle device up here that we could use at a board meeting. If we had several people that spoke different languages, anything that we say could be translated right into another person's device that they could hear it and go through, and that's up to 5 languages at one time that the device can do. So there's enormous levels of capabilities. The challenge that they had in the past was that if you're working with a microphone, when you speak through a microphone, it changes the frequency of your voice, and therefore it changes the frequency that goes out, so the translation was not as accurate. So they developed a device to plug into the time kettle, which eliminates that frequency and still interprets that as accurately as possible.
So you're ready to go, you have enough devices to start the school year for phase 2?
We do.
Okay, great.
And Dr. Franczyk as our K-12 ESL program coordinator, and Dr. Surdy in her line of work are taking a look at it administratively and overseeing the process of what collecting the data and close to the classroom.
John, so what's the total of earbuds at this point?
Total that we have 20 total.
Just 20?
20. And when we take a look at our population at the secondary level, when we take a look at those students in Tier 1, Tier 2, 20 is a pretty good number. We could probably expand it to 30 maybe, but taking a look at the effectiveness of how this program works. But each day the students sign them out of the office, pick them up out of a charger. At the end of the day, return to the office, put it back into the charger so it's fully ready to go. The earbuds themselves are integrated in. The device is about this big. It has a sliding drawer that have the earbuds within them. Just push the button, pull them out, pop them in. Ahead of time, we just make sure that they are programmed properly. So it's a one-to-one. This student gets this device. They use that device every single day because it's programmed specifically for their language.
How does it work on the teacher end?
Teacher end, all you do is talk.
So, okay, so they don't need any.
So they don't need anything. The translation
So the student
device,
could go to any class. and
take the
be able
device
to
with them.
understand. Yeah,
And what we ask students to do is once they come into the classroom, they take the device, they put it on the teacher's desk.
okay.
That way, the voice pickup is a little bit closer, although they're pretty sensitive. They pick up voice from a good distance. But that way, the teacher recognizes that, one, they'll know in advance who has the devices and who has been approved to use them. But then knowing that that student brought that in today sends them a constant reminder of, is this a time when I want the child to be using the interpretation device, or is this a time when we're saying, no, I want you to be able to speak in language right now.
John, on the honor pouches, what's the teacher's reaction?
Teacher reaction, we shared it with teachers and at our staff meeting opening day. Teachers did receive it very warmly with a round of applause. I know that at the secondary level, they had a building level meeting, which I was not there for, but they did take the time to go through and troubleshoot any potential issues coming down the road and take a look at process and procedure that the high school staff has in place. That concludes my report.
Any questions on Dr. Creditor's report? Does anybody have any quick facts that support the use of these pouches? Like, are other states or other school districts doing this? Does anybody have anything off the top of it, or do you have any?
State of Texas recently implemented a statewide ban. I believe the state of Alabama has done the same thing. I believe there's legislation in probably half the states across the United States about cell phone regulations. And like I said, when Representative DeLuzio reached out to me in regard to having federal legislation, I think it recognizes that this conversation is not just isolated to Arlington School District in the state of Pennsylvania. It's more of a global issue in regard to student attention and focus, and really providing the opportunity for our students to thrive in the classroom and giving the opportunity for our teachers to teach.
Can you also address how this plays with kids who have IEPs or 504s that require devices?
Yeah, so certainly 504s and IEPs always have the option of trumping policies and procedures that are relative to any type of disability or any type of health need. So in that process, if the child has a specific health need or a medical condition, generally that goes through a 504 process, which is a collaboration between 504 team, could be a group of special education staff members, building principal, school counselor. That information then is collected, and then that team goes through and reviews that and takes a look at, one, is there a medical need? Is there medical documentation from the healthcare professional? And then what type of device does that healthcare professional recommend to help and support? So we do have students who do rely on mobile devices. A lot of innovative health companies have gone through the process of getting apps to measure different types of stimuli back from students going through their mobile devices. So that would be a definite issue where it would come to our attention with the medical documentation, and we would put accommodations in place so that they would have access.
And for members of the public, just to refresh your memory, this is a topic that came up in a board meeting last year. We discussed it at length. We didn't discuss the particular solution. We said, how do we impact the students in the classroom? How do we help them be better engaged? How do we help reduce the distractions that are occurring from cell phones? I don't know that any of our board members had a specific suggestion on how to do it, but we talked about it as a team. The administration went off and researched a bunch of options and came back with these pouches that we're now implementing. And there were a lot of questions. There were a lot of board members asking questions, and what about this, what about that? And we spent a good part of a year sort of troubleshooting how this would go. And I'm sure we're gonna encounter some things that we didn't expect, and we're gonna have to work around them. The big picture, I think all of us are thrilled with the idea that we're trying to take a proactive step to help our students, their mental health, their attention, and their learning, which is what school's all about. So hopefully that informs, or helps to add to what Dr. Kreider said, and informs any questions you might have later. So, any other board questions or comments? Okay. We can move on to committee reports. Parkway West Director Apple, anything you want to share about Parkway West?
No, even that for some meeting.
Sounds good. Director Anshar, anything for Pathfinder?
The last meeting was in June, and the August meeting is tomorrow, so I'll be quick next month.
Good luck tomorrow.
But Joe, I do have a question. How about the issue about Pathfinder moving into a larger building? Is anything moved on that? Excuse me, Pathfinder.
Excuse me. So the sales agreement has been made, has to be approved by a majority of the board members in the 12 sending districts. Should give you the timeline on the top of my head, but it's going to be this fall. Yeah. And, I think every board in the consortium has questions.
Until that happens, Parkway is going to be sort of tight.
It is. It's there are 1,400 students now, maybe a little more. As I said, it's just start, but certainly reversed it seems. So whether we move forward with the purchase of PTI and retrofitting in our needs, or staying at the current campus, which is going to have to be constructed. I don't know.
Thanks.
For Shazza, Director Slutsky is not here tonight. Anything for Shazza or is that not that it is? Okay. Director Vogliano, any updates on legislative matters?
Not really, there's still no budget, maybe never, just kidding. But they're saying possibly October, but they say not. Every month, it's just an impasse on transit, education. And, yeah,
Not
that's
much to pull from the community.
how to get more revenue in. So there were a few House bills and Senate bills introduced that basically both changes moved down, and we're back to square one.
Great, thank you. Director Simpson, any updates on foundation other than the great news about the?
Yeah, we did approve the time kettle money. We met on August 5th. I can report that we are not having the golf outing this year. And the country club in Michigan have it has increased their prices significantly, and it just wouldn't have been a good return on investment for us to have the golf outing. So that's not happening. We did talk about First Bingo. So First Bingo is scheduled for November 7th. Ticket prices pre-sale are $40, at the door $45, $300 for a sparkle table. The tickets will go on sale the last week in August, so that's coming up next week. There are sponsorship opportunities, so for any businesses that would like to, sponsor a sparkle table or the desserts or anything like that. There are opportunities. You can find that on the Education Foundation website. We awarded 2 mini grants to 2 of our teachers, and they were both for flexible seating. So that's something that's happening. What else? We also awarded $12 per student to each of the elementary schools to the PTAs for field trips. So we just determined that, the per student price is the best way to go. It's the most equitable way to go. Talked about having a presence at the back to school night, which happened on the 15th. Our next meeting is scheduled for the second Tuesday in September, which we typically meet on the first Tuesday, but we don't have enough people at that time. So, and we talked about the time pedal, so I appreciate you bringing that up, and we're really excited to support that and see how that helps our students. So.
Awesome. Thank you. Any questions on any of the committee reports? Not, we'll move on. Student representatives, we don't have it here tonight.
They will join us in September.
They'll join us in September. All right, fantastic. So stay tuned on that. If there's no other questions, we'll move to the public comment section. Dr. Taylor, anybody signed up for agenda items tonight?
We have several. First is Jackson and Keeney.
Hi, everyone. My main concern here is about the cell phone policy. My first point, the eHall Pass system on the Chromebook is a lot less responsive than it would be on a cell phone. That's just something that I feel like if we're going to go to this phone-free environment here at the junior senior high school, that would need to be addressed. Secondly, research, and so for example, if I'm researching something for an essay, half the time I'll find something that I really want to look into, and I'll click on the link to it, and it's blocked by the district, which is something that, again, definitely impacts researching for both essays, projects, whatever you have. I just felt like those were 2 points that I thought you all would want to know about in decisions coming forward.
Appreciate it, thank you. I think on blocked websites, is there a function to, if you have a website that you believe has legitimate educational value that is blocked, they can submit it to the school to get unblocked? So, if you're not aware of that, you could reach out to the administration to find out how to do that. 2 good points. Thank you. Dr. Taylor, what's next?
Next, we have Ms. Brittany Nova.
Brittany, hello.
Hi, everyone. So I just have a couple things for the agenda. The first is for the Carnegie renovation project. I wasn't able to make that meeting last week. I didn't know, are you guys gonna, Dr. Carter, have another meeting like you did at the elementary school with the prop renovation, like what the update was? Because I thought that was really helpful and a lot of people showed up at that meeting. Especially the neighborhood, like, so I didn't know if there was another meeting planned, because there isn't, you can't find anything on the website or anything about it. And people are generally like wanting to know, like, what is the plan, what's the change, something like that.
Yeah, based on the scope reduction that we looked at, we didn't feel the need to have a second meeting because a lot of the information that would have been covered would have been part of the first project, just in regard to disruption and those kind of things. Massaro will continue to work with mailers to the perimeter families as soon as construction is set to be started, just to give those families an understanding of what the construction schedule is, what to expect, especially during the first couple of months, in summer months in particular, with new equipment coming into the area, roadway traffic, those kind of things, to make sure that people have an understanding there.
Yeah, I guess my question really is like, as a parent, I don't know what the change in the plan was, because I wasn't able to be at the meeting, and so like, what was taken out, what was added, like, what's not there, like, wanting to know what that is.
So once we
like-
have the bid documents refined, which should be in the next 2 weeks or so, what we'll do is we'll push more information out about specifically what's in the scope of the project.
Okay, thank you. The second thing is in regards to the cell phone policy. I work at Westinghouse and we took cell phones away from kids, and I am in favor of that. It's worked tremendously at the high school level. Are we doing that at the elementary school level in the district? Because I will tell you, my son's 9 and he doesn't have a phone, but his friends all have phones, and it is a huge distraction at the elementary level.
One of the things we've recognized and I think each district is probably different. The feedback that we've received from the elementary level has been that they're not as much of a distraction. So it's something that we'll continue to monitor. But at this point, we didn't see it as a need at that level.
Okay, then just one more question in agenda items. So that, I was just curious about that training you're going to with Apple. We don't use Apple devices in the district, like everything's Google Chrome, Classroom, Chromebooks, so what exactly, like, are we switching to Apple? Like, what is the hope from that? Just curious.
One of the pieces that I outlined here in the very beginning was the Inspire Innovation, and Apple is probably one of the leaders in the industry in regard to innovation and thinking outside the box. Apple has a full team of an education department who focuses particularly on education. So some of the things that we're taking a look at across the district are innovation, different ways to teach creativity, problem solving, thinking skills. There's, I think, approximately 20 superintendents from across Allegheny County. The Allegheny Intermediate Unit pushed out the opportunity and arranged it. So it's an opportunity to meet with a core group of Apple executives to learn about how Apple products, which I'm sure they will mention quite a bit, but it is a consideration to take into mind is, are there Apple products that we can be using more effectively with our students to support instruction?
Perfect. And then the last thing, I know you're in like the phase 2, but is that like, are you planning on implementing the language transition devices at the elementary level? Just because some things that I see, at least like across with what I hear from my son, is like sometimes it's hard for some of his friends to understand. So I was just curious, and I think it would be helpful like when we have events down there, especially because all of the ELL families come to Carnegie, so like family reading night or something that like maybe the PTA would have access to, because sometimes it's hard to communicate with parents about like when they come in, how to register, stuff like that. So I didn't know if that was something.
We definitely have it for registration purposes. We have the device down there with our registrar. She has access to it. She's gone through the training on how to use it. In regard to evening events and extracurricular types of things, yes, it is something that we're exploring. As far as classroom use for students, what we've recognized is as students come into the United States, they are much more prone to picking up on the language a lot faster than what students who come in to the United States at age 15 or 16. It's much much more of the time process there to acquire the language.
Thank you.
Yes, Melissa Mentz.
Melissa?
The first question was already answered with the IEPs and the 504s regarding the cell phones being locked up. My main thing is, I'm on the fence, I'm not really strongly for them or against them. But why are we putting this into the hands of the kids to take home and bring back every day on top of the Chromebook, the homework, the books they have, the charger, their headphones, I mean, all this stuff, and then they have to remember that as well? Why can't we just have it at the door? As they come in, they put it in the pouch, and as they leave, they take it out of the pouch. Then they don't have to worry about having that on them at all times. The parents don't have to worry about coming up to pick up a phone if they forgot the pouch. We only have one car. So if I had to come to the school to get it, I'd have to Uber here, or walk here, or I might not be able to get it till next week. And I think it just makes more sense to have it here, especially when we have a lot of families that are strapped for cash. $30, if that goes missing, that's their money for food for the week. That's a huge inconvenience for the families. And then my other question is the renovations at Carnegie. Again, like Brittany, I wasn't able to be here last time. What changes were made? Do we still have the handicap bathroom in there? Because as it currently stands, we can't spend a long time at different events because there's nowhere for my daughter to be changed. Unless I want to take her into the cement floor bathrooms and, well, quite frankly, that's gross.
Mhm. Yeah, like I said, the main tenets, the main goals as far as the project, all of those will still be achieved, including the
The handicap bathroom that will be
I
accessible
think that
for
was
the pool.
probably one of the higher top priorities for our board, and for our staff to take a look at, because it's glaring, it's something we need to fix.
Yeah.
So yes, that's the, in regard to the yonder pouches, each student gets their own individual one. Having them pass from one student next thing, a different one on a different day, you really wouldn't be able to have a system put in place where every person can come back in and get their exact same pouch.
But why would it matter?
Right, so the sharing of those, going back and forth from one person gives them more autonomy towards their pouch. What we've recognized with a lot of the tools and equipment that we issue to our students, we don't have many losses, especially like with our Chromebooks, we don't have any lost. Very seldom do we have extreme damage to our
Well, I'm just thinking, this is something the size of a cell phone, and
It's
all my
slightly bigger, but
children,
it's very light.
all my children are neurodivergent. This is something that's gonna go missing in my house if my kids had to have used this. My kids are now 25 and 21, and the kindergartner, it's not affected. But my older kids, if they hadn't used this, I guarantee you it would have been missing in our house many times.
Could they leave them in the lockers if they choose? Could they put their pouch, the empty pouch in the locker and then go home?
None of the kids use their lockers.
I mean,
I can't help that, but if the
Yeah.
locker's available, it's theirs.
What is the implementation of, when are they unlocking them? Are there gonna be stands at the doors like some schools have?
I believe so, but I don't know.
Or like, and are the teachers gonna have the magnets in the classroom for the, God knows, God feared like that emergency situation?
And just so you know, it took me all of about 30 seconds to find the locks online. So what's the preventative measure to keep kids from unlocking them themselves?
no matter what initiative you have, there's always going to be workarounds for it. So naturally, it's working with the students in recognition that it's not permitted, and there's
But
sanctions
phones
in
weren't
place.
permitted, and now we're moving to this because they're still using them.
There's going to be questions that we don't have answers for yet that we'll have to figure out and solve as we get there. We hope that the overall initiative is a positive one for everybody, and then we'll work out some of these details in the first couple of days, things that we can't anticipate right now or don't have a good answer for it.
Okay.
Dr. Joe?
Ryan McHugh.
Brian?
Hello. So I found out about the Yonder pouches too, I think yesterday or into today with some social media posts that I read on my phone. And then I got an email today, which I read on my phone. And then I researched the Yonder pouch on my phone to figure out what was going on with it and what it was about. utilized that to then print this out because I wasn't sure if I had to put my phone in a pouch before I came in here. So, so I have some stuff on paper that I wrote down here. But my name's Brian McHugh. I have a student that's in senior this year and a student that graduated a year and a half ago. So the reason why I wanted to come in and talk about these pouches is I feel like a lot of it is kind of like a great dream to think that we can spend some money and then this is going to work. And that I'm a practical person, so the first thing I look at is what's going to happen, right? What's going to go wrong? I'm a dad. I know things are going to go wrong. So I just think that, you know, having teachers that are engaged, I'm sure there are plenty of teachers right now that don't have an issue with cell phone use in their class. And there are some that do. And I think we need to look at why is that. Not throw everyone's phone into, you know, a pouch just to try and solve the problem by spending some tax dollars, because I'm a taxpayer, right, like probably everyone sitting here, and I don't like to see
Brian,
money
quick
spent.
interruption. Fortunately, we were able to get a grant to pay for this, so it did not come out of our taxpayer money. But your point.
Where did the grant come from? Who paid that?
State of Pennsylvania.
Tax dollars?
Yeah, where'd that come from?
I pay state taxes
Right,
too.
I just want to point out, I'm not a state legislator, I'm a local school board member, so you might want to take that up.
So we
with the state
go
legislature.
grab, we go grab that money if it's there, I get it, right? You know, we want to go after it, try to do something that sounds nice, and everything positive about it is very similar to what shows on their website. You go to their website, people walking in fields without cell phones, everything sounds good, right? My couple issues, biggest one is around safety, right? First thing is, when emergencies happen, seconds count. And if kids have phones locked up, that's seconds that could be lost, that could save lives. I know it's a very unlikely chance that that could happen, but I don't care, right? Like, even an unlikely chance, there's a reason why we wear a seatbelt, even though many of us have never been in a car accident our entire life, but we put a seatbelt on every single day, right? Having a phone in your pocket is very simple, and it's a safety device that you can use. Our kids use them for safety, communication, connection, and honestly for their well-being too at times. So to ignore that and to just say lock them away for the day is ignoring real life, because as soon as they walk out of the school, their phones are there. So if there's cyberbullying, that's happening too. That's not going to change. All that stuff continues to happen outside of school. So I don't think that we're really, you know, we're looking at it as a crutch to maybe make school easier, but these kids are going to go on Amazon, they're going to buy a magnet for $10. Everyone's going to have them, they're going to be able to open them up. The same kids that disobey the policy now, the ones that obey the policy now are going to put their phones in their pouch and they're going to go about their day. Everything's going to be fine. So I think that it's a good thought, and I think we agree that phones are a distraction. I think we need to solve that. But, you know, I've been a people leader and a manager my pretty much entire adult life, and I've managed people everywhere from 15 years old up into their 70s. And I found that everyone can be distracted by their phone, but it's when when they're engaged in what they're doing, they're getting it done. It doesn't matter if their phone's sitting there or not, and they might get distracted for a moment and go right back to what they're doing, and they're effective. And that's the skills they need whenever they get out of school. So that's what I want to encourage you to look for ways to do that. And that's the hard thing to do. It's not spending money. It's about teachers realizing that actually what you mentioned about Steve Jobs, and I didn't get the quote exactly right, so scrambling to get a pen off my wife, but you said that, you know, change is an opportunity, not an obstacle, I think, something along those lines. So how are we saying that? Literally the next thing we talk about after we say we can't use phones, then we talk about using the X1 pilot when our phones can do that. Like, there's solutions that are available if we engage our devices, utilize them, and empower our kids to do it the right way. But if they're on their phone, the first thing I notice when my kids get on their phone is because they're bored. It's what I do. If I'm at work and I grab my phone out, it's because I got caught up on what I had to do, and I grab my phone to check my email or something, right? And that's what probably most of us do. But if our kids are that bored in school, I think we need to reflect and see what can we do to change that. You know, how can we really look inside? How can we engage our children better in school so that they actually engage and don't look for distractions in their phone? So that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Mr. Reese Smith.
Good afternoon, everyone. My comment is on the phone policy itself, but also as a process of enacting that policy. I really don't believe there was enough public discussion around what really is a major policy change, as evidenced by all the people that showed up, all the storm this has caused on social media. I mean, not every change to policy elicits such a reaction from the community. I'm sure you guys think that there was a lot of engagement and opportunities for input, and I'm sure you guys will want to list them out, but I think that the constituents very clearly do not think there was enough public opportunity based on what I've seen and talking to people, hearing people's comments online. So I know there was mentioned about 2 board meetings that were about 8 months ago where this was discussed. So one was the October 2nd meeting. If you look at the minutes from that meeting, you'll see that there wasn't really a specific solution offered, but rather just the general issue was first being discussed as, hey, we have this problem with phones. We need to look into, what we can do. Additionally, I'd like to point out that because that was sort of the working meeting, the committee meeting, whatever you want to call it, public comment is not solicited from community members during that meeting. So there was no opportunity for community member feedback at that meeting. As well, the November 19th meeting was mentioned as one where it was discussed. I wasn't really able to see that in the minutes, but there were, some votes where it's, votes on policy. Maybe that was what that was. And that was a public meeting like this one where people can provide public comment. One of the things I've seen mentioned about community feedback in generating this policy was focus groups. I'm really glad to hear about the focus groups, but I just have, a couple questions about them, such as how are these groups chosen? Were people randomly selected to get, a very broad-based group of people where people solicited to join? Was there anything put out saying, hey, we're trying to run a focus group on this, would anyone like to join? As well, what was the results of these focus groups? What was found out from them? Were the results ever discussed at a board meeting, the results presented in a sort of actionable way? As well, earlier it was mentioned that the board has been discussing this for a year and asking questions. And I just sort of wonder, why hasn't that really happened at a school board meeting like this, where, asking questions of the superintendent here in front of all of us so we all can see the questions you guys are asking, maybe even seeing, the research that was done, because there was mention that the administration did research into different options. If we could have been, heard that research and what other options were presented and maybe gathered some feedback from the community on that. I come to a lot of these meetings, but I'm not infallible. I miss a few. Sometimes I miss something being discussed, but I've talked to other people that also regularly attend, and it seems that we were all kind of caught off guard by this coming out of this new policy coming out. And so I just think that if people that regularly attend the meetings and the public writ large are caught off guard by a major policy, we didn't do enough to sort of preempt that policy. We didn't do enough to go and solicit feedback. We didn't do enough to say, hey, we're thinking about rolling out this new policy maybe in the next coming months. Can we get some feedback? Can you guys help us brainstorm? Just so far today, we've heard a couple of issues of problems that we might run into. Some of them, aren't necessarily insurmountable. Like, we need to add more websites to the school cybersecurity waitlist. That way kids can access them. So I just think that would have been good to discuss more. So, in summary, I think one of the big issues with this is how the school district went about creating this policy and enacting it. And I think we should have had more public discussion and more opportunity for community feedback.
I just want to point out the two dates that I provided were not all of the discussions that we had. I'm not Google, so I cannot provide every single date. I don't know. Those were just 2 that I quickly looked up on Board Docs and typed in cell phone pouches, and that's what came up, but we have discussed it in other public meetings before. We even discussed it last week in our committee session last Tuesday with Mrs. Burleson.
And Reese, I think you've shared in the past that you would hope for more public discussion on topics, and I took that feedback seriously, and I think this board has done a great job in the last year or 2 of trying to be more intentional about sharing information. So I think that in the spirit it was intended. On this policy, I struggle on a personal level. I struggle with, we did talk about it for over a year. We had very public discussions and meetings. We had members of the public asking us questions in those meetings. You may not have been there during that meeting. That's okay. That's fine. I don't know how we overcome, if any one of you isn't at a particular meeting to hear that dialogue. I don't know how we accommodate that. So I think this board relied on national research from accredited organizations. We looked at what states are going at a state level, and the last number I saw was 27 of the 50 states have banned the cell phones in school completely. Others are looking at it, Pennsylvania included. We've talked to other districts locally that have implemented bans, and we've gotten honest feedback about the first couple of weeks were rough until the kids figured it out, until the teachers figured it out. After that, there was an awakening of, wow, this is what human interaction looks like. Wow, this is fantastic. So all of that combined, a year of discussing, a year of looking at research, sharing articles with each other, having public discussion in 4 or 5 different meetings. On a personal level, I feel like we've done a pretty decent job of having that discussion. I still think, like Jackson, the thing you brought up, those are great points. We'll have to digest those and figure out a way to get around them. We knew that no matter what we did, we weren't going to solve everything immediately, but the administration and the teachers are committed to making a better environment for the students. And I think that's all we were trying to support as a whole. So.
Funny, Superintendent Kreider also met with the teachers, the staff, the students, and parents met with parents and community members at his forums. So there's been a significant due diligence, and I was at that working session, Reese, and they did allow me to engage. So.
Did you know that cell phones would be part of that?
Yeah, that was the topic.
Okay.
At the last working session or the one on October 3rd?
The original one.
The October 3rd one?
Yes.
I keep hearing mention that this was brought up in the forums. I was in every single forum, I missed the last one.
No.
Was this brought up at a forum? Because I don't recall us discussing this, and you know I've been at every
It
forum.
was at the Crafton Elementary Forum earlier in the year.
I know we did it at Grafton, and I believe it may have been like the October one we did at Carnegie.
Yeah.
But I do remember doing that.
Dr. Taylor, any other questions on agenda?
I have something to say. The important survey is the reaction of our teachers, that they actually got on this, the pouch issue. The second thing is, I've been here for lunch, just to check out their lunches every once in a while. And I see kids not interacting as we adults would. I'm looking forward to coming to lunch in November and seeing the kids talking with each other, just like a normal civilization would. Give it a try, please.
Stephanie Mangan?
Stephanie.
All right, this will be unpopular, but I'm putting my full is spot on. But the one thing that stuck with me that I think anyone concerned should really think about is that this is not placing like a good value or bad value on phones and devices, but it is a powerful tool. So that's what I think we have to keep in mind. So I was using this to take notes. I, as an adult, like I look at the computer connection thing on my phone, I can put it down. So this is a powerful tool in the hands of individuals who do not have fully developed frontal cortexes. So that being said, my only concern was the practicality of the Yondr bags. I'm glad to hear that the teachers, because that would be what I defer to. What do the teachers want? Because they're the ones who have to deal with our kids with their cell phones. I know there's going to be niche issues that pop up, and I would really encourage everyone to support not jumping right back into, oh, let's just give them cell phones again, because the data on the damage that cell phones have done to our children is very clear. But in that same vein, I would encourage, if there are some cases where using cell phones in school would be helpful, and again, these would have to be very clear or upfront, like, hey, in this case, maybe it comes to research. We're allowing the students for this amount of time with very clear, and that's, I think, I as a teacher as well, we have issues where we have clear, concise guidance and discipline and consequences, and then we get pushback from administrators because a parent complained, a parent came to you, and then we fall apart. So I would, I support the teachers on this because they're the ones who are dealing with this. So I have life experience without them, and we teach our kids that too, and I would screens, if the honor pouch is the way to go, then that's the way to go. If that's impractical, leave them in the lockers. If the lockers are impractical, we need to redo the lockers, but let's look at other solutions that don't involve just going back to cell phones, because I think we can do that, so, yeah, my support.
Thank you, Ted.
Yeah.
Audrey, Matt.
Audrey. Feel free to speak.
So hello, my name is Audrey Matt. I'm going into my senior year here. I am an active member in the Carlington Marching Band. I hold a leadership title there. I also participate in cheerleading, concert band, the choirs, musical, and am a part of the technical group for plays. So one of my big things is the language barriers between students who are unable to speak English. As someone who has been put in group situations, no one really knows how to speak English. Chromebooks crash really easily, and you can't access everything. Everyone's on it. And another thing is all the block sites, like Jackson said. Most colleges, like their websites are blocked, like the educational sites. Like we use like a Google Scholar to search things for research, and those were all blocked. So we had no resources to be able to do our research papers or just normal papers in general. Personal devices for people who do have some health issues and stuff, and with the Wi-Fi issues and whatnot. Like people use Apple watches to monitor their heart rate and monitor things that are wrong with their body. As someone who lives with a solitary kidney, I use my devices to help me monitor everything, and who have severe allergy or allergic reactions. And like inside classroom settings, like a lot of our teachers have started using it in our like curriculum and whatnot. Grab an EpiPen. Another thing is, for students who do get bullied face to face, our phones are like that distraction. Like you use music to distract you, maybe walk away. It's really tough being in school. It's like having come to your face, or seeing your siblings having come to their face, and that's just the distraction you have to step away for a minute. And everything for sports, like how our coaches communicate to us. The website, so we have no way to know if our practices are canceled, which can end up becoming back to a transportation thing, because some of us stay here after school waiting, and you won't know about it until you're there, and you're inconveniencing your parents, or if you do not have a ride home, or if you have to pay that you don't really have the money to pay for a ride home. I think that's it.
Thank you so much for coming and sharing that. I think you brought up several great examples of what we were used to under the old way, where we used our phones for a lot of things. Recognizing the dangers that the phone can present, now we're going to try to shift away and try to use Chromebooks more often. But you're bringing up some really practical things that are important. So how is the administration and the staff going to be able to help the student body adjust to this, and how do we make sure that the Chromebooks have the right power, they don't crash frequently, the Wi-Fi is acceptable, we unblock sites that should be unblocked. So these things that maybe weren't a big deal before, we now have to treat them differently. So I really appreciate you bringing those, and you made several great points that I hope our administration wrote down and jump and take a look at. Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much.
That's all for agenda.
Okay. One quick follow-up.
One question, sorry, I was reading. Bus routes, I saw it's up for approval today. When will parents receive the bus routes in the mail?
They should be coming either tomorrow or the next day. They've been mailed, and I believe they're also.
Today, they're on Power School.
They're on Power
They're on
School.
Power School?
If I could
I'm sorry, if I could just add real quick, when I spoke, it may have come off like I want kids using their phones all the time, and I didn't mean that. What I think is that we should have a very strict no cell phone policy with the teachers enforcing it, not with some bag to enforce it, so that in cases of emergencies, in cases like travel and stuff, and teach our children how to respectfully use it for communication and for the proper use, and not use it, you know, I just think the rules that are currently there should be enforced, and I think that's enough if they're just enforced properly and severely. Like, I would have no problem with my kid getting suspension if they're like, hey, he was sitting there on Instagram or something. Like, I wouldn't have a problem with that, right? I'm sorry.
If I can take several of your comments and combine them together, I think there's a great spirit of, we all believe that there is a problem with cell phone usage with young people, especially in schools. So if we start with that as the foundation, and we all have that common belief, then we can say, we're all trying to bind together and come up with a solution to help our kids out. And again, that's something that we all share in common with, which is a great mentality. Then the specifics of what policies do we put in place and how do we go about doing that, we may have some disagreements, and Brian, you bring up some great points that I quietly agree with in other ways. I think our board and our administration has come up with a path that we think makes a lot of sense, with a ton of caveats from great comments from the students. We're going to try to make this system work. We're going to try to do it for the kids. If we find things that are insurmountable, we're going to have to pivot. I don't know what those are right now, but
it's a new company, and there are a couple of schools that have already implemented it and stopped using it. So, and because it's a newer company, they did $33.5 million in revenue last year, just by the way, through grant money from our tax dollars, but Folsom, California, and Aberdeen, Washington both already used it and have stopped using it because they didn't find it effective. So, and they went on to other policies of strictly enforcing and better ways to balance the use.
and maybe after our kids go through an experience like this, maybe
We may learn something.
we start to teach them the reasons behind why phones can be dangerous, and maybe they can start to learn skill sets. I think Stephanie pointed out, they don't have the brain development, the process. I mean, frankly, half of the adults of us have trouble managing this ourselves. So maybe this is an evolution along the way together. I love the fact that it's not all of us, most of us have that same common theme. We understand there's a problem here. We're trying to collect it, and we're doing it together. So that's all we do.
Dr. Kramer, can you walk through how it works? Where will the, I believe she mentioned it over there, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, but where the like just briefly, how does it work?
Logistics.
Yes, logistics, thank you.
So basically, on the way into the schoolhouse, students will take their devices, place them into their bags. As you come into the building, all you need to do is snap it closed, and that locks it. Looking to do that process in homeroom, to have the devices locked in homeroom. And then throughout the course of the school day, if there would be a classroom teacher that would want to use the devices for instructional purposes, they would be able to sign out a magnet to be able to unlock the pouches during that instructional time. For the most part, phones will stay with the individual person in their backpack like it normally would. And then on the way out of school, there are devices that are put on the wall that as kids exit the building, just hold it up to and it automatically unsnaps it, and you're able to retrieve your cell phone.
Where are those going to be?
So those are going to be right at our main exit points.
So for children that go to Parkway for part of the day, they would do it
Same
when
exactly.
they transition there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Board, any questions? Okay. Section 3, approval of minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes to approve. I'll entertain a motion to approve all 3, section 3, all 3 items on the section.
I so move.
Second. Thank you, thank you. Moved and second, any questions or comments? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Under section 4 miscellaneous, we have 8 items to take a look at. I'll approve the motion for all 8 items in section 4. Moved and second, thank you. Any questions or discussion? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Section 5, finance. There are 7 items under section 5. I'll entertain a motion to approve all of them.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded, thank you very much. Any questions or comments? We'll vote, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Section 6, personnel, we have 4 items to approve. Anyone willing to put that on the table?
So moved.
Moved and seconded, thank you very much. All those, any questions or comments?
The comment is it was a very busy summer in regard to hiring. I believe there are over 20 new employees coming into the school district in a variety of different capacities. One of the things that we're pleased to report is the quality of the candidates that came in this year. Extremely strong candidates. We are looking to have a strong influence and impact on our children. They work with students in a variety of different capacities, ranging anywhere from administration, classroom teachers, paraprofessionals, aides, custodians, and lunchroom playground aides and cafeteria workers, all who have significant impacts on our children. The other piece that's on the agenda too is the approval of our bus drivers through Monarch. I shared with them earlier this week that our bus drivers are also an integral part into our school day, that our children are the first individuals that they see during the school day and have a valuable impression. So a lot of the individuals that we're hiring, outstanding people, looking forward to them joining the Chronicle.
Any other questions or comments? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Section 7, student activities, we have 3 items. I'll entertain a motion to approve those 3 items.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions or discussion? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Any policies? No. Any old business? Any old business they'd like to bring up?
So, just as we're going through it, it's the, about the Bowen Foundation donating to the playground. You know, it's Ed Bowen, for those of you who don't know him, didn't know him. He's a pastor at the Presbyterian Church in Grafton. Left generous endowment for the betterment of the children of the district, and it's really nice to see after all these years that endowment is still hurting our kids, our families. So I just didn't want that to be allowed. I mentioned it very much. I appreciate that.
He was a quiet advocate for the district and for the students, and his legacy continues to any other old business? Any new business? Any audience open forum questions? We have items that people have signed up to speak about. So
Our items, the first one is Brittany Bova.
Brittany's back.
I'm back. You won't miss me, I know you did, don't worry. So I have like this whole couple questions that I wanted to bring up, but I think this meeting has really brought to light some things, and I do just want to say, I've been continue reading this book. I just finished it, Great on Their Behalf. I again recommend it to all of you to read. It's really good. I think the kettle time things are a great example of one of the things in this was setting a goal, reviewing it, that, which is what the community wants to hear, how successful. But there were a couple comments tonight from a couple board members that I just felt were very attacking other people that had comments, and so I just wanted to read this in here that says, if the school board isn't seen as listening to its community, it is less likely to be listened to. And even if community members are open to listening, if the context gap between the community members and school board members isn't bridged, school board members will, at best, simply sound out of touch and at worst, aggressively negligent. So I know we've had meetings and that, but I do want to just stress, I went to all of the forums except the morning ones, and I can tell you till the very end, there wasn't board members at them. So you guys aren't listening to the community till it comes to this type of setting. And so sounds frustrating to the community because I think we've got to build more on community engagement as a board and how do we engage the public outside of this meeting? Because again, the agenda was posted, I know you have 24 hours you can post it. But what help is it if it's not posted till 5 o'clock on a Monday night when the meeting's on Tuesday at 7, right? It's not helpful. People don't get to see it, can't review it, can't read it. Our meetings aren't accessible to community members. If you don't drive, this isn't an easy place to come. Great, we're on Zoom now, that's great. That's a huge piece, I'm glad. But like, we've got to work really on engaging the community. And this isn't it's something we have to learn as we grow. Like, that's how we grow as a school board, getting more community engagement. I love that all you showed up tonight. That's great. But how do we keep getting people to show up and engage with the board, engage with the superintendent, right? How do we do that? And I think it's by building community and going out into the community and listening. That's what the people want. That's what everybody wants. They just want to feel heard and listened to. And tonight, I think the majority of you did listen. There were some people that didn't listen, and it was just attack. And that is frustrating as people who are community members, who are taxpayers, who care about the kids. I think we all have one thing in common. We care about the kids. We have to really work as a board on how do you guys engage the community better outside of this forum. And you're working on it. I'm not saying you're not, but I'm just saying, like, that's just what I keep hearing, and I want you guys just to keep trying and doing it. We can all improve, all in it's no negative effect on any of you. Like, I'm not saying you're horrible. I'm just saying we have to really work on engaging the community better before it comes to a board meeting and the policies are there, right? Like, if you have that communication, open discussion, it helps with that. And again, I think if you guys really read this book, you would be like, oh wow, we've been doing it wrong for a long time, right? I've been doing life wrong for a while. And then the last thing is, I'm just gonna bring up again, the school police officer. I was glad to see he was at the back to school night. I didn't get to meet him because he wasn't at his table. So I'm glad he was walking around, but I couldn't find him for the brief minute I was there. Is there gonna be another opportunity to have a meet and greet with him being present so that people can ask him questions, get to know him? Because I really wanted to meet and talk to him about it.
Yeah, our main focus is to get him into working with our students and our staff. He started this week, but we will have opportunities for evening events. There will be times when we'll be at board meetings as well, and have interactions as well.
Okay. And are we still working on meeting with community providers like the HERE Foundation and Black Women for Better Education about how we can engage the school police officer with children of color that may have an aversion to police, just given the world we live in?
Yeah, so right now we're taking a look at trainings that go above and beyond the state requirements. There's 6 additional trainings that he's taking a look at and going through those trainings as well. Deals with a lot of different pieces, de-escalation strategies, introduction to restorative practices, trauma-informed practice, working with students with special needs. Several of those topics and trainings that he's going through as well.
Okay, and the last thing is, at the last board meeting, I think, or superintendent, we had talked about potentially our 9th graders, is the discussion going to be around 9th graders being able to attend homecoming? They get to participate in homecoming game, marching band, but then they can't go to the dance. Is that something that's going to change this year?
Yeah, I think that's what we said last year, yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Brittany, if I can quickly comment on a personal level. I've heard your suggestions, and Reese has made some suggestions in the past, and I've tried to take them at face value with the spirit I think they were intended. And I think we have room for improvement. We have tried to make positive changes. I think we've all grown individually and collectively. I can tell you that we all struggle with some of the same challenges that you struggle. We all have jobs, we all have many of us have kids, different ages. We have a lot of things pulling at our schedule. So we are absolutely committed to, we spend a ton of time doing this. We get paid nothing. We do it because we love the kids, we love our community, we want to do the right thing. So none of us are here with any agendas. We want to get better. If anybody has ever reacted negatively to you or anyone, it might have been out of frustration or out of feeling they were attacked. So We will continue to try and get better, we will continue to try and engage. We simply can't do everything, so we can't.
I don't disagree, but you were elected to do this job, and part of it is engaging outside of just this. I know how much time and effort goes into it. I'm training, I'm running for school board, I get it, I know the time and effort. But if the only time I get to have an open discussion is at this type of meeting, it doesn't work, right? It doesn't work.
On a personal level, I gently disagree. We can have a conversation offline, but we should be available, we should have a dialogue. What is enough? I don't know, but that's, you and I can have that conversation offline. I don't want to drag everybody else's time down. Dr. Kelly, who's next?
Marla Gibson.
Marla.
Hi, I'm Marla Gibson. My daughter is Lena Levinson. She's a senior this year, and she's in marching band. So I'm here to talk about marching band fundraising. We were asked an opportunity to help the marching band to offset costs for the stop it. With my husband, I can hurt him. So our daughter Lena's in the marching band. We asked for an opportunity to help fundraising for the band trip, which is coming up in the spring. By having our food truck, we own a food truck. It's a mac and cheese food truck. We don't sell anything else but mac and cheese. So we wanted to come to 2 games. We plan to give all profits of our sales and cash tips towards the band trip to offset the cost for all the kids. We have band kids here, we have band kids' parents here, and you, Mr. Schreiber, you're a band dad. So hopefully you hear me out here. So we were denied the opportunity to have our food truck at 2 football games. Just 2, selling our mac and cheese. We weren't going to sell our big portion mac and cheeses, we were going to sell our small portions, but regardless, we were going to donate all profits and cash tips back to the marching band to offset our costs. A lot of our families don't have that money, but my husband and I, we want to help. So how can we support our children at the football games for fundraising? Because I got denied by the athletic department, and boosters, one of the booster girls said that we can do it, but I should ask our athletic director, and he did deny us. So what can we do? We can't do this, we can't do our band festival because Carnegie was going to be under construction. It's too late to plan this. It takes a year to plan a band festival. We need fundraising. There's only so much stairs, candy, and subs that you can sell.
John, I hope we can rethink this. I hope we can rethink this.
2 games. There's only 2 Fridays that we were able to do it. It was this Friday and September 5th. Mm-hmm. 20th. This Friday.
The 19th.
So I just want to let, just to put that out there because it's a lot of money that will help them.
And if I can speak up on that, for fundraising, when Riley's burned to the ground and they did a fundraiser for the for the employees there at the Carnegie Farmers Market, which we go there because we're part of the community. We do it because we're part of the community, not for the money. We raised $2,100. We were able to give. We've never, ever done that at our Carnegie Farmers Market. That was 4 times the money we'd ever made there. So I'm not saying that it'll be $2,000.
There's 50 people in line the whole time.
I'm not saying it'll be $2,000, but Melissa will tell you.
Melissa can tell you too. She was in line too.
She's a follower. She's a follower.
And so far, conversations had with athletic department, and you also reached out to.
So I talked to Nicole Hill from the boosters, and she said that she doesn't see a problem with it because they have a hard time getting volunteers as it is. We have no competition with the concession stand. We're not selling hot dogs. We're not going to sell pop. We're not selling nachos. We're not selling walking tacos. We're just selling our mac and cheese, and it's just 2 games. 2 games. I've been in this community for 26 years as a taxpayer. I've done so much. My son graduated in 2021. My daughter's a senior this year. friends just like you guys.
How much do you lose from the band festival?
Excuse me?
How much do you lose from the band festival?
How much? The band festivals are main fundraiser.
Yeah,
Thank
that's.
you,
And it covers a lot. For instance, we went to Disney World, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
The kids only had to pay $600 per kid.
Including the flight.
Including what we drove. But regardless.
Or with the fluid.
And you know, times are tough now, and a lot of these kids can't afford it, their parents can't afford it. But my husband and I are able to do this.
So Booster, you spoke with the.
Nicole Hill said that I would need to talk to Nate. I talked to Nate, and we have email conversations on there, and Anne Marie, I also sent her a message too on that email
And when did these conversations occur?
this week, and I'd be more than happy to read the email to you if you like.
So you need kid detail.
Yeah.
Whatever's going on.
Thank you so much for reaching out. I have included Bridget on this email as she has reached out in regards to this as well. Ms. Marshall Burleson is also on this response so that we are all on the same page. We had a football scrimmage and I had a conversation with Nicole and Jamie Harvey as they are involved in the football boosters. Nicole is also on this email as she kept her in the loop as well. Nicole I did speak to because her daughter and my son graduated together and we've been friends since elementary school. After having the conversation about the food truck, we feel that it is in the best interest of the football booster program to not have the truck at the varsity football games. I totally understand the position that you are in, but feels that this would take away greatly from the concession stand and the football booster purpose. Again, this is not an easy decision for anyone, but after talking it through with the football boosters, they feel that it's best to not allow the truck. Again, I wanted to make sure we were all transparent, which is why everyone is included on this email. Thank you for understanding, and that was from Nate Milson. And that was on Sunday evening when he said that to me.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
Dr. Taylor.
Next is Jackson Kelly.
Jackson.
I'm sorry, Heaney.
You're back.
It's fine. At least it was another name that was nowhere near Keeney and not Kennedy or something like that. That I know people who have used. Not looking at anyone in particular.
This is magic.
No. To be fair, so anyway, I was this past scheduling season put on for Physics 1, which was not offered at the school this year. I was just thinking about that, and I feel like the selection courses that are on the books but not actually used throughout the school year probably is contributing to the number of students that are going to different buildings from within the district or to different educational facilities, charter schools, et cetera. I just wanted to bring that up as a way of saying, if you want to look into getting them back into our building, looking at what classes can we offer, because also physics is a elementary science that most districts do offer. And that's going to be something that is taking away from our student population. So just food for thought there.
So you're saying that you couldn't get physics this year? Is that-
Yeah, not here. I know it has been offered in the past and remains on the books still.
So Jackson, if you don't take it here, where are you taking it?
I don't know. I have reached out to Mrs. Barnes about taking it at a different facility or online within here.
It's possible.
So yes.
But we have to pay for it.
Yes.
There were only 5 kids in that class this year.
I took physics 1 this year and there were only 5 of us, and 2 of us were juniors, so there was nobody else that wanted to take the class.
I just heard from Dr. Taylor that we only had 3 people sign up, so it's to justify using taxpayer money to pay somebody to teach three so.
That, and the other challenge there is the state of Pennsylvania graduates maybe 3 physics certified students at the university level per year across the state of Pennsylvania. Physics teachers are very, very difficult to find. And at the present time, we don't have a physics teacher on staff. That's the other part of the challenge.
The point's valid.
Yes.
Did you have to post it?
We have posted.
Right. We have not found a qualified candidate.
I just had a quick question about the change in format to the kindergarten staggered start. Maybe, as always, I will accept responsibility if I miss some sort of communication, but I was entirely blindsided by the fact that they're only going in for a 1-hour assessment this year. And I was curious if that's happening at both elementary schools, the justification for that change. I think there were a lot of benefits to the old format, and I've not been able to get any additional detail from anybody else, so this is my opportunity if you could just fill us
I'll have to
in.
look into it and shoot you an email on it.
So this week, is that
Yeah.
this week? I'll get back to you.
Ms. Hawk, I don't have your email address in our Google form, so if you could just email me directly, I'll respond to you directly.
Okay.
There are 2 other names that are partially filled out on the form. So I don't know if this is a repeat about them. One is Reese Smith and one is Terry Lee, but they're not fully filled out, so.
I didn't know this error with doing the form. Okay. But I actually was gonna raise my hand and doing that, I exhausted Terry, I don't know if you, that was on purpose, to kind of speak again.
No, I didn't put my name down. I can do some song and dance.
You did the pledge, so that's all I'm saying. You have a question, please.
Another question, just, it was discussed, what are things that we as the board can do to solicit more community input? I was gonna, mention a few things. One, I think you've already done, and that's start live streaming, which I think would be great. I think for that, a next step would be working towards doing a true hybrid. If you guys have ever attended the Grafton Borough Council meeting, that's like a true hybrid council meeting where members of the community are like actually in the Zoom call. They can add public comment as well. I think that's a great option to sort of work towards as well. I think putting the phone policy on more agendas, I mean, like we're going to take some time to discuss this. I think that would have been good. There's a borough Facebook page. I think putting something up there saying, hey, maybe start off with like some sort of infographic or maybe some links to some resources. Say, hey, here's our stats showing that phones in the school are an issue. Because I think most of us do agree the phones in the school are becoming a serious issue. Saying, okay, we're starting the conversation. We need to do something to tackle this. Come to the borough meeting, the school board meeting, if you guys want to start to provide some input, things like that. Just having more meetings where it's going to be discussed on the agenda. I think maybe putting out, a survey or two. If we could have surveyed, maybe sent a survey out to all of the students. Maybe we could have resolved some of the issues brought up today. I know with, I assume the phone policy is going to start when school starts on Monday. So I don't know how much, if that's enough time to start to, whitelist some more of the websites that need whitelisted and such. If we had done, a survey, even just a couple of months ago from the students, maybe we could have caught that sooner and given the cyber team more time to do that. So that's just a couple of things I think that could have done to also make people aware that this is something being discussed more broadly. So that's just some of the thoughts I had. Thank you. Thanks.
Steve. Sorry.
To add to that, because I really do try to be informed and stay on top of, I'm an involved parent, but so other information I learned from the Citizen Service I was at earlier today is our ability to focus and what we put our attention on. So I imagine 99% of the information that goes on in the school board meeting, even though the information's out there for the public to see, most people don't need to pay attention to, the goings on, we trust you. So it takes a citizen who sees something and goes, hey, parents should be informed about this. They go to Facebook, and it's all of a sudden that spotlight, and then your attention's like, oh, this is a thing that I do need to pay attention to. So I think, I don't know the answer to this when it comes to public engagement, because I'm glad that parent put that out there. I definitely want to support or bring my opinions in on certain things. So if there's a way that you can figure out, hey, this is something that parents really would want to, we're gonna alert them to that. How that looks, I don't know. And the other thing is taking because this is a YouTube stream, this is not on Zoom, correct? I know a few people have said Zoom. Being really engaged on council this past year, like those Zoom meetings have been really helpful. I've got kids who have activities at all times of the day. And so there have been times I can't make a council meeting, I jump on Zoom, I can hear, I can engage, I can, speak on that, and I think parents would really find that valuable. Parents who have kids at activities or they're driving around, not driving, do not go on Zoom meetings while you're driving. If you're sitting in a parking lot while your child's at, soccer practice or whatnot, you can get engaged that way. It's just another way to make it a little bit more accessible for parents to get involved. So those are my great suggestions.
Thanks. Any other open forum questions before we?
I have one more. I just want to follow up on what Mara was speaking about. What is the actual response from the board to that? And second, how was that decision made? And third, why would the athletic department handle a fundraising event for the fine arts program? Wow, I don't, I know that you heard it, and I know that you received that, and I saw Dr. Crowder, he's like, but it is right, but I kind of am looking to see what is your response to hearing that a community small business wanted to reach out and help a band, and I have 2 band kids, who wanted to help this program and got shut down. I kind of want to hear what you have to say about it and what action that you're going to take.
I'm just gonna take a look into it at a deeper level.
I'm
not gonna make a public,
answer.
I'm gonna make a public comment about it right now. Just basing the information off of what I've heard so far this evening. I have to collect information, as any solid decision maker would do, is to collect more information and develop and render a decision based on the information gleaned.
Okay, and do you think that the athletic director should, the director, I should say I'm not saying name specific, but the director of the athletic program should be the one who has the veto power over something that an entirely separate department does to fundraise for very positive activity?
Well, I mean, I'm just speculating here, based on general knowledge of these things, but my understanding is that different groups get to use a concession stand for fundraising for different things. Is that correct?
No.
In different districts, they do that. So-
Yeah, just not.
Then never mind. I didn't know if there was a conflict. That's
No,
what-
and that's why
Yeah.
it's me saying,
Yeah, but they
we
want
have a
all the money.
school that has a lot of money that gets put into the athletic program, and not as much goes into the fine arts. And so to balance that out, we have to fundraise and fundraise. And I got 2 kids going to Disney. I don't know how many hoagies that's gonna take to get them there, but a lot.
I think Dr. Cutter just needs to gather information
No, no,
and understand the
like-
situation, and
Yeah.
he heard from Marla, you articulated your point. He has to go talk to Dave, understand the full situation, and then he'll,
I mean, there's other groups that do fundraising there, but I'm not gonna pinpoint the people,
Right.
what other.
Yeah.
But that's not the point, if we're gonna help other people in the community that's not even in Crafton per se, Carnegie, we help Riley's, like my husband said.
Right.
I mean, we raised a lot of money for them. That's our money that was back to us, but we gave it to them, so their employees had money, they lost their livelihood, they lost their jobs.
your point is that part of the decision is important for Friday, because one of the 2 dates is this Friday.
Was this Friday?
That'd be a sense of urgency to understand that.
I'm sorry, I need your name for the minutes. Oh, God. It's Jane Doe. Very
Last question.
My daughter graduated in 22.
Okay.
I was with marching band from 6th grade up to 12th with her. And these marching band people go out there and they lay their heart on the field just like these football players do. But you know what? They say the district doesn't support us. They say we don't matter, the football team matters, we don't. And this is from 6th grade up. This is nothing that has changed. And to not allow them to fundraise at the one place that they're performing because that festival was taken from them, that just drives it hard home to them that you don't matter. We care about the sports, not about the music.
So I'm a parent of 5 band children. I can tell you that
Yeah, he's
they
in
feel
trouble.
loved and supported, and the district believes in the music program and supports the music program, period. So, Dr. Craig will take a look at this and get back to Cheryl tomorrow. So, any final questions before we adjourn? Any board questions before we adjourn? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Second. Moved and second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Dang.